Good morning, Brendan. It's Gin and Al's Thursday. I really liked your video on the gravitational waves in your ice cream. Needless to say, there's a lot of exciting things to say about this science. I'm gonna move right back into the Wild. If you haven't seen my video on Into the Wild or heard the story, read the book, source below. Today we're gonna talk about Into the Wild in relationship to pilgrimage. I wanna be very clear up front. I'm not talking about a pilgrimage in sort of a religious sense. I'm talking about a pilgrimage in a more open, humanist, spiritual sense. I'm using those words today in a way that means a greater human spirituality, that connection you feel when you look up into the stars, that reality of pondering a really deep question, that sense of surreality you have when you realize that someone loves you. This is a very deep type of human spirituality, and I want to talk about it in relation to pilgrimage and what a pilgrimage is for my purposes. A pilgrimage is a journey that somebody undertakes, and they always undertake it with some risk to self. Now that risk to self can be something physical, as it was in Chris McCandless's case, or it can be something deeper or more spiritual. While pilgrimages can contain some sort of physical danger, it is not absolutely necessary for a pilgrimage to occur. Because this is a type of journey, it requires some kind of movement, and it's a movement of the heart. All pilgrimages require the humbleness to accept. Pilgrimages are necessarily journeys that involve risk and are aimed towards the truth. Now, I'm not talking about cold hard facts here or some scientific data. I'm talking about a relational truth, something that touches you very deeply. And because this truth is relational, when we come to discover it, it allows us to feel more connected to the world. This can be done with other human beings, but it is also part of our connection with nature. Chris McCandless fought hard for this type of pilgrimage in his life, and he set out in such a way that he could discover truth. One can't discover truth without some humility involved and some preparation. In reading his story, we can see that he has the biggest impact on other people. And this is what I'm trying to say, that truth is something that is relational. Chris McCandless's wandering into the woods of its own is not an interesting story. What is an interesting story is the impact he had on the people in his life. His family, his friends, the people who gave him rides and food and money. No doubt part of Chris McCandless's effort and search for truth is his connection with nature. And it was his relationship to nature that informed his worldview. It's part of the reason why he tried to live off the land. He wanted to develop a deeper connection with the world around him. And he did this in his relationships and with the nature that he became a part of. I want to talk about this idea of risk in an adventure and why is it necessary to this idea of pilgrimage. Risk is essential to an idea of pilgrimage because without risk, without the ability to lose something that's important to yourself, including your own life, you can't be humble enough to accept new relational truths into your life. If we become bogged down in our lives, if we become steady in the truth that we already know, we can't re-examine, grow, and learn new truth. There's a risk, there's truth. But why does it have to be a journey? Well, I'm not talking about the kind of journey in which you move across country. I'm talking about the journey inwards, moving from where you are to somewhere else. This movement to somewhere else implies that you've actually gone somewhere, that you've grown, that you've built up. I'm not talking about a physical journey. I'm talking about examining oneself, where one is at, and then moving beyond that. Pilgrimages can happen anywhere. They can happen just sitting at your office desk as you explore truth with others on the internet. Pilgrimages can happen in nature, just wandering about and reconnecting with the world. But pilgrimages must include a risk to self, they must be oriented to some sort of relational truth, and they always imply a journey, moving from some place to another place. Whether that's a spiritual place, a place of belief, or a place of faith, it has to move beyond to where you were before. Chris McCandless's story is so compelling because he took a pilgrimage that many of us never have the courage to take. His was a journey to discover a deeper connection with nature. Ours is often a journey to discover a deeper connection with people. In his life and death, Alexander Supertramp connected with nature, and nature connected with him. Brendan, you need a writing challenge. I'm gonna have some fun. You're doing this, a Fruit and Owl story. It can be any length. It can be about anything you like, but I want some sort of multimedia included in the story. Gin and Owl's out.